I don't say this lightly, but directed by James Burrows is one of the best books I've ever read, certainly the best book I've read in a very long time. And there's one main reason for that, and that is my love of Cheers. I am, some would argue, painfully obsessed with Cheers, but I'm okay with that. And I was very nervous to read this because I had very high expectations, and it completely exceeded them. It was absolutely amazing. This is, of course, written by James Burrows with Eddy Friedfeld. This was released in 2022, and it actually took me a long time to get around to reading it. And I actually started reading it maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I crawled through this because I lapped up everything in this, and I didn't want to read more than a few pages at a time because I wanted to really sit with the information and absorb it, and I really thoroughly enjoyed doing it. Don't get me wrong, I was desperate to plough through it, but I took my time, and there is so much in this, so much that I learned, not just with Cheers, but with sitcoms in general, and of course I learned a lot about Burrows as well. When I started reading this, initially I thought I'm going to come on here, I'm going to share loads of things that I learned and give you loads of highlights, but I don't want to do that. For the main reason, I want people to enjoy it as much as I did, so I don't want to spoil anything. In addition to the information that's shared, and I'll talk in a second just about kind of some of the main topics that Burrows covers, but in addition to the actual material, the actual information that Burrows is sharing, the writing style is perfect. I don't think I spotted a single grammatical error or even typing error. I could be wrong. If I did, it would be like one at the most. It is absolutely beautiful. It is so perfect. It's published by Ballantine Books. I read the ebook version just in case anybody maybe has the physical copy, the hardcover, or the paperback. If there is a paperback, yes, there is. If there are any glaringly obvious errors in there, that's not the case with the ebook version. But the writing style is just so delicious. It is my type of writing style, and I absolutely loved it. And coupling that with the actual information that's in the book, it was just perfect. Everything about this was absolute perfection. It starts off with some background about Burrows' life, his childhood, and his father as well. His father, Abe Burrows, is a notable name, and that was interesting for me to read about. And then we find out how he got his foot in the door. And then we go through things pretty much chronologically with his early sitcoms, and then as he progresses through to other sitcoms. Cheers definitely, much to my satisfaction, takes up the largest chunk of the book. There are 2 chapters specifically dedicated to Cheers, and they are weighty chapters. They are very detailed. I think if I remember correctly, one is seasons 1 to 5, the other 6 to 11, which is significant because 1 to 5 is Shelley Long, 6 to 11 is Kirstie Alley. I think. I could be misremembering that, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. But either way, we have 2 very sizable chapters about Cheers, and there is so much information in there. We have general facts about the show, about how it came to be, and Burrows' relationship with the Charles brothers, of course. But then we have personal stories, and it gets very emotional, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And it took me so long to read those 2 chapters. But that being said, Cheers is also mentioned throughout it at other points when it's necessary, either to compare with other sitcoms or just when it's natural to reflect back to Cheers. So even if you're just reading this, for example, for Cheers, you will find that there are small Cheers anecdotes peppered throughout it. And that's true for some of the other sitcoms as well. It also talks about, well, Taxi before Cheers. We have Frasier, of course, Friends, Will and Grace, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. It's just incredible. Burrows' footprint in sitcoms is absolutely incredible. I feel like there's not a sitcom he hasn't touched. I'm sure there will be, but it's just amazing. And if I didn't have a lot of respect for him before reading this, which I absolutely did, I would worship the ground he walked on after reading this. And honestly, I do. He's just completely unrivaled. He's absolutely incredible. And there are also bits in this about the technical aspect of sitcoms and how things have progressed, particularly with cameras and things from the beginning of his career to certainly more recently, and that the technical aspect is really fascinating as well. So the information in this is just stunning. I was making notes as I went along, and I made so many notes. And as I said, initially, I thought I would be sharing some of those and some highlights, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to give any of it away. And there are some photos as well. And the only thing that wasn't there that I'd hoped for is I'd hoped there was a photo of Kirstie Alley dressed as Shelley Long. Kirstie Alley's first day when she joined Cheers, she wore a blonde wig and put on a skirt and basically dressed like Shelley Long. And I was secretly hoping, because it was mentioned briefly in the book, I was secretly hoping that there would be a photo of that, although it probably would be a little bit out of place. But there wasn't. If a photo of that exists, though, I would pay good money to see that. Directed by James Burrows, written by James Burrows, is absolutely incredible. It is one of the best books I have ever read. I had high hopes for this. I really wanted to get specific things out of this. And not only did it deliver, it completely surpassed all of that. I will probably read it again at some point, and I don't really read books twice because I'd rather read something new, something I've never experienced. But this is so perfect that I adored every second of it. The information shared, the stories, they're absolutely fantastic. The writing quality is so beautiful, so delicious. I lapped up every single word in this, and I don't care that it took me several months to read this, because it was an incredible journey, a beautiful experience. If you're a fan of any of the sitcoms mentioned in this, if you're just interested in sitcoms in general, directed by James Burrows is absolutely something you're going to want to read. One of the best things I've ever read. It made me feel so many emotions. I wouldn't change a single thing about this reading experience. Directed by James Burrows is absolutely perfect.